Hi, and welcome back to Mingus on Tech. I'm Ken Mingus, Executive Editor at Computer World. I'm here with Senior Writer Lucas Mirian. We're going to take a quick look at UEM and whether it's real or not and where it's going. So stick around. Okay, so we're back. Lucas, first, thanks for being here. A lot's been going on in mobile management over the last couple of years. You've written about this pretty extensively as we see things like mobile device management, MDM, morphing into mobile application management, MAM. And all of this is sort of enterprise mobility management, basically.
Alphabet soup.
It is an alphabet soup, The whole point is how do companies safely, what's the word?
Manage all the devices from a single
console. Manage the devices, basically. And whether you're talking about iPhones or Android devices or tablets, laptops, desktops, everything. And the latest and greatest theoretical craze is UEM, which is Unified Endpoint Management.
Right.
Okay. And we've had some stories in Computer World already about how this is where all of these, alphabet soup management ploys or tactics are heading. And I wanted to find out from you, because you've been looking at Intune, Microsoft Intune, and see, do we have any sense whether UEM is really the latest and greatest next best thing, or is it still, got some birthing pains to go through?
Yeah, and what I found out talking to a lot of top-level IT managers is it's got a lot of birthing pains still to go through. And part of that is the fact that you have a lot of different platforms out there that enterprises have rolled out, and it needs to be able to integrate with those platforms. So, for instance, more recently, I was looking into Microsoft Intune, which is a UEM-capable platform, able to manage what we're talking about there is not only desktops and servers, but laptops, mobile devices, tablets, phones. This is all based,
and different operating systems too, right? It's not just Microsoft. Theoretically, when this works, I think the whole point is that you can manage every kind of device, every kind of operating system, and do it from sort of a single pane of glass, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the end game, and that's nowhere near where they are right now. Some of the end users that I spoke to were migrating to, just using this example, Intune, simply because they were rolling out Windows 10, and that offers mobile device and mobile application management via Intune. So they're considering it for that reason, but none of them had actually rolled out a complete UEM platform. They're basically still on MDM, a little bit of mobile application management, but not all three. Mobile device management, mobile application management,
EMM is sort of the umbrella term.
EMM is sort of the umbrella.
Well, EMM, I always think of EMM. I guess we should do a quick definition in case anybody's wondering what the hell we're talking about. You've got enterprise mobility management, which is basically how companies manage all of these devices, theoretically mobile devices. You've got MDM, which is mobile device management, which is specific to the device. You've got mobile application management, which is designed to be more granular and manage the applications on the devices.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you've got UEM, which would sort of theoretically be this, it would
include
this
everything.
Goulash of management all across the board. Microsoft Intune, Windows Intune, is it built into Windows 10? Is that what makes it such an attractive thing, or is it sort of an add-on?
It's an add-on. You can access it through Intune.
Okay.
So yeah, by rolling out Windows 10, you can have a license which allows you to access Intune.
Okay. And I know that one of the things that companies also have to decide is, do they want to do something like that, or do they want to go with a variety of third-party vendors and figure out which solution's the best one, right?
Yeah, and a lot of cases when I talked to these managers, they said, well, we had rolled out MobileIron or VMware or Citrix or some other device management platform, and they were looking to consolidate. So that's why they were looking through Windows 10 to perhaps take care of their mobile device management, mobile application management via that, because it now offers that. Microsoft offered up that capability last year on Windows 10. So they were looking to consolidate their management consoles, but it's not a straightforward proposition. In some cases, they were doing it simply because they had older platforms from Microsoft, and it allowed them to continue to use those platforms. Microsoft System Center Configuration Manager was one of them. I spoke to a lot of them. Well, we already have that. This allows us to use that and these other management capabilities as well. So we want to roll that out in conjunction with what we already have. So that was one of the attractive propositions. But some of the managers I talked to, at least one in particular, had a lot of problems with Intune. They said they're having problems with, and I don't want to specifically just talk about Intune.
Right. We're focused on that because it's what you've been writing about, and so
Right.
you've been specifically asking, users how that's working out for
Right.
them. I mean, I'm sure some of these issues, are across the board.
Probably, yeah. But one of the problems he had was the fact that he could not get rid of old user groups once he created new user groups. Some of those old users who had authorization to access applications and devices were still on there, and they got fed up with it. They just stopped trying. So there are still issues. UEM in general. So here's the thing. Gartner has said, and I believe this, that 2/3 of employees use mobile devices for business purposes.
Sure. Yeah.
I certainly
I'm
do.
surprised
You
it's
do.
not even more than that, to be honest with you, but at least 2/3.
Yeah, I think they're conservative on their estimates, but I agree. I think that so the majority are using mobile devices. So IT managers are sitting here. Well, do we only manage the hardware, the endpoint? That's what MDM is all about.
The device.
Or can we, restrict access to the applications running across all the devices? And that's really the more attractive management scheme. You don't want to have to manage just the hardware. It's better to manage the software so that it spans all the devices. You don't have to worry about each individual device. You can worry more about, be more concerned about managing the software on those devices.
Well, yeah, I mean, and really what we're talking about is corporate data. The best way to manage and protect corporate data so that it doesn't leak out, so that other apps on a smartphone or a tablet don't have access to it, so that if you lose a device, your corporate data isn't completely in danger.
Right.
And so all of these, this alphabet soup, as we say, is designed to protect corporate data on devices that employees are using, routinely in the field.
And they want to automate processes like onboarding new employees or offboarding new employees when they leave the company or they're let go. Things that happen regularly within a company. And they don't want to have to do it across a number of different platforms. They want to be able to do it automatically and from a single console.
Right. And, as you make the point, if you're provisioning, if you've got a list of people who have access to corporate data, corporate applications, corporate networks, and, that list changes, and suddenly people who are no longer with the company, maybe they've gone to a competitor, still have access to that. I can see why that would be a problem. Do we have any idea? Like, I presume Microsoft and other vendors would be, they would hear from customers if this issue is prevalent. Is there any way that that Microsoft or again MobileIron, whoever, are they cleaning up their apps? Are they cleaning up the software in an effort to take care of these bugs and things before? Because companies are not going to roll this out when you've got those kinds of issues.
No, and they haven't. It's still a very nascent field. It's where the end game's headed, but we're nowhere near there yet. It's very, very early days. I think that they like every piece of new software, every new platform, they're addressing these issues one at a time, and it may take some time to fully address them. I have not asked Microsoft about that particular issue yet. I would have to go across all the different vendors and ask them that, but I think I have to believe that, they're going to attempt to address all these different myriad of issues that are cropping up as people try to bring everything under one management umbrella.
Right. Okay. So for the time being, we've got MDM at different companies. We've got MAM at different companies with a goal of UEM that is obviously several years, I would presume, down the road before that's all working. Any other insights before I let you go?
Well, we probably should have started off just the conversation with talking about why MDM first, and that's because it's sort of more of a ham-handed approach to device management.
Is that because if you lose a device, you have to wipe the whole thing?
Yeah, and that's always kind of had a sour note with employees. Well, I'm going to lose grandma and the grandchildren's pictures on my phone.
Yeah.
And so they tried to manage that by saying, okay, we'll provision it so only this part of the phone is going to get deleted and the rest of it will be left on it. Yeah. And that's when we started getting into mobile application management and other forms of device management. So, I mean, when I first started reporting this back in 2000, probably 10 or 11, employees actually had to sign contracts saying, I will allow you to wipe my device if I lose it or if I leave the company. So you leave the company and your device gets wiped and you lose all these photos and whatnot. And they've slowly been progressing toward more granular management capabilities. Like I said, being able to provision it differently so you don't have to lose everything on the phone. Right. And you no longer have to sign these, kind of intrusive agreements allowing your data to be deleted on your phone. Because as we all know, BYOD is well established within firms now. In fact, that's the majority of mobile devices within firms are under a bring your own device policy versus devices that are actually assigned or given by the corporation itself. Those are relatively easy to manage.
Yeah, because it's the corporate device.
It's the corporate device. You can have the software on it automatically, but when you bring your own device, well, you've got to upload that software to that device, and then you have to decide what you're going to manage on that device. Well, only the corporate applications. That's where it gets a little bit more granular, more difficult.
Yeah, it's interesting when you think about it. If all right, so this is 2018. The iPhone's been out for 11 years. I think it came out in 2007. Was that the we're talking 10 or 11 years, and it seems like it was, I mean, obviously BlackBerries were very popular in corporate use before that, but it seems like it was with the iPhone and then later on Android that people started to really, bring their devices in and start accessing corporate networks. And it does feel like it's a bit of a jungle out there in terms of how all of these solutions emerged over the last 6, 7, 8 years to try to handle all of these devices. And now, with UEM, you're looking at something that would theoretically bring some rationality to all of that. And again, the thing about UEM too, you made this point earlier, is that it's not just mobile devices. Theoretically, you can manage desktops and laptops, Windows, Apple, Android, iOS, all in one place. And so I can get why that would be very appealing to corporate IT operations. I can also get why it would be very complicated and why we're probably not going to see UEM anytime soon.
No, not. I think you'll see aspects of UEM like your entire Windows management platform being managed by UEM. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a more complete picture of UEM for some time now. Probably maybe 2-3 years out. Okay. I'm guessing just from talking to some of the analysts in the industry and users. I've yet to find a single user who has really embraced UEM. And I'd love to, if there are any out there, I'd love to talk to them.
Yes, if you've got UEM working perfectly, please give Lucas Mirian a call because we want to hear more about it. Yeah. Okay, great, Lucas. I appreciate it. That gives me a real sense for where things are and how far off we are from a final solution here on mobile management. So thanks for stopping by and taking the time to fill me in. For now, for UEM, everything else mobile, that's a wrap.